Australia to PNG Submarine Cable decommissioned. Mixed reactions on COVID vaccination. And schools struggle with irregular release of subsidies.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Orere.
Good evening, this is Friday's news. After 16 years of operations, PNG Datacom has officially decommissioned the Australia-Papua New Guinea Submarine Cable 2 in Port Moresby. The fibre optic cable was a point-to-point direction connection between PNG and Australia that was originally the long-haul Pacific Rim West submarine system that connected PNG to the world.
A click of the button by Minister Duma, putting stop to a network system that contributed significantly to the communications industry in the country. The Australian Papua New Guinea Submarine Cable 2 or APANG 2 was once the country's main internet highway that connected PNG to Australia and to the wider world community. Commissioned in 2006 under Telecom PNG, Telstra Australia and Telecom New Zealand, it exceeded its capabilities, proving to be one of the country's effective information gateway for over 16 years.
It has reached its lifespan and we are trying to retire the cable now. So this is an occasion for us to celebrate its retirement, basically, and to say thank you to all those who have contributed in designing and constructing this cable for Papua New Guinea. It has served its purpose. Most of the people are probably not aware, but it has done a lot of good thing for the country in terms of communication. It has made us to develop to where we are now. Yes, so
as the APANG 2 comes to an end, it signals the beginning of a new era in internet communications, giving way to the Coral Sea cable system, which is over 1,000 times more effective than the APANG 2.
I'd like to thank our customers also who were on the APANG 2, APANG 2 cable with us all these years. We know that the cable was very efficient in terms of providing its services. The downtime were very minimum. You're looking at 99.9% above. So we thank you to all our customers who have been with us and those who have now migrated to the Coral Sea. We're looking forward for that new partnership going forward.
In his official remarks, Minister Duma thanked the Australian government for their continued support in this important sector. He says providing PNG with a reliable and efficient communication network is the aim of the national government, which was captured under agreements signed in the 2018 APEC summit.
The Pacific Energy Partnership with Australia, New Zealand, United States and Japan. Again, Australia has been able to maintain that communication link with us. So as most of you are aware, our Prime Minister, the Honourable James Morobe, has been continuing to talk about our country becoming one of the richest nations on earth. And it is through important infrastructure assets like communications and power that our people will be able to meaningfully participate. And this is one example of the way in which we've been able to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to us as a country.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
Although health authorities said earlier this week that COVID-19 vaccination in the country will be optional and will initially target 20% of the population who are considered to be high-risk groups, the general public still have mixed feelings about it, with some rejecting to participate. These high-risk groups will include frontline healthcare workers, elderly people with chronic underlying conditions, and those working in the extractive industries. Health authorities in the country say from data available, the number of confirmed cases tend to be higher in provinces which report doing more testing. There is a steady increase identified in influenza-like illnesses and severe acute respiratory infections around the country, with swabbing and testing of these individuals for COVID-19 rarely done. The Health Secretary says 4 vaccines from the COVAX facility are before the National Executive Council in the approval process.
So at this point in time, there is, again, through the WHO, DFAC and the department, we're taking consideration of 20% of the population, and the first being the health workers, frontline health workers. Then our age, what age group we should consider is the issue that the working committee, technical working committee, will decide moment the government gives the endorsement of the deployment plans that we have. And again, those with high comorbidities, like those with diabetes, hypertension. And of course, we consider those that of the extractive industries, mining, and companies that fly in, fly out our international borders. Those will be considered under this EUA.
The general public have expressed mixed views about the proposed COVID-19 vaccination program rollout, with some having doubts about the disease actually being in PNG and also not having confidence in the vaccines. MTV News spoke to some of them.
Meeting was this like sickness, it's a created sickness. You know, sickness where me plus tumbuna blow me plan generation blow me plan no got this like sick. So something well China like testing this like something lo all man or this like number so also test themselves or country blow yet. Me plan Papua New Guinea so far you know got plenty die come up with COVID-19.
Supposed me got this like COVID-19 this like test positive. Then me kissing me more better than all by giving me nothing na me but I get no God.
Me feel confident lo kissing marasin. Unless supposed to talk good, explain him good, marasin will make him osanem kamososanem. I think I'm about right lo mix him, but else it's not necessary to lo mix him.
But others think it is necessary to take part in the vaccination program for protection purposes.
It is a must, you know. We should have it, you know. We should have some here in Papua New Guinea to stop the spread, because you know if it spreads to people like my age group, certainly it's going to be devastating. You know, it's going to kill a lot of people.
Yeah, mi ba mamas lo kisim marasin. Na ol pikinin itu ol pikinin na imi ol kata man meri sa paso se mol kam tok lo kisim mon pla marasin kam na ba ol givim lo imi mi pla ba ol kata mamas ta solo go kisim lo protectim imi.
Some members of the public chose to speak off camera to express their views. It is also a hot topic on social media. A science academic at the University of Papua New Guinea expressed last week that Papua New Guineans seem to have some natural immunity to COVID-19. He says vaccination can only be rolled out if really necessary.
In simple terms, vaccination is only given to the group of people that require vaccination. According to what I said, we have certain level of immunity. And it's okay, you can get vaccination if you do not have some level of protection.
So when people are saying that we are immune, that's not true. So we are for us we are working as if we are in the same exposure as probably other countries, as you can see them.
Certain members of the public also expressed concern over the whole vaccination campaign, saying it may have underlying motives.
COVID-19. Nuko tikat narpla recent or just product come na or testing mula.
A 54-year-old man from Yangaru East Sepik province has become the 10th known person to die due to COVID-19. The latest death is from the Angao General Hospital in Leh. The man died after he was admitted to the hospital with symptoms of COVID-19, which were fever, cough, chest pain, and shortness of breath. Controller of the National Pandemic Response, David Manning, used this opportunity to appeal to everyone in the country to adhere to the measures in place against COVID-19. PNG has recorded 922 COVID cases with more than 800 recovered so far. The death of the 54-year-old man brings the country's death toll to 10. The Morobe Provincial Health Authority has received over 3 million kina in COVID-19 funds, according to a report by the authority's CEO, Dr. Kepas Binga. Based on Dr. Binga's expenditure report, about 2.5 million kina has already been used. The CEO said the remaining funds would be used on the running costs of COVID-19 facilities, mainly to equip them with essential equipment as ventilators.
According to the budget lines.
The Morobe Provincial Health Authority's CEO, Dr. Kepas Binga, gave a brief report on the COVID-19 funds for the province this week. Based on his report, the province received over 3 million kina in funds totaling from those given by the national government, New Zealand Aid and the Australian government. Dr. Binga acknowledged the national government's commitment towards the preparedness effort amidst economic crisis.
They gave us an amount of about 200,000 which we all used. Not only us in Morobe, but everyone else. It was straight across. We were fortunate, and not only us, I guess all of the country as well. For Morobe, we received some money, aid from New Zealand Aid. New Zealand government gave us money of at the tune of 170,000 kina. The DFAP gave money in the name of COVID for about 1.9 million.
Dr. Binga said funds from the Australian government are managed by the Public Health under the Health Department. According to his expenditure report, MPHA has so far used about 2.5 million kina in COVID-19 funds.
And so of those monies, New Zealand Aid, we have used about 54,400 kina. And so we are left with about 115,000 of that money, kina, and some. For the Aussie 1.9 million, we have used about 1.2 million. So we are left at about 800,000 of that money still with us, yet to be used. PNG government gave us 200,000, initially, the one that I alluded to earlier. Plus, recently, towards the end of last year, they've given out 2 million kina to Morobe. Others received different provinces according to how they broke up the budget. For Morobe, we given 4 million, but we got 2 million kina. After we've used the money, at least 70 to 80% of that money, we were promised that another 2 million will be coming forth.
Dr. Binga said Morobe province is on track in terms of COVID-19 preparedness measures and ahead with COVID-19 facilities. The remaining funds, therefore, will be used on running costs of these facilities.
Basically, it's going to come to consumables and, of course, some equipment that we need. So one of them will be the ventilators and also the monitors for patients. That actually we need to get those and put them in the facility so we don't run around when we do it. And then there's some little things that we need if you want to run an ICU care. There are some things that you need to do on bedside, some little tests that you can do. So those are the things that we'll be looking at, consumables to, just to get it ready so we don't run into problems.
Charlene Airy, National EMTV News, Ley.
A member of a school board management is concerned with the rollout of the government school subsidy. Derek Key told MTV News irregular release of subsidies has hampered the running of education institutions not just in urban but rural areas. Chairman Key says most schools struggle despite the implementation of the TFF policy. He also urged parents to pay up fees and build better facilities to improve quality of learning.
Mr. Key is the board chairman of the new Erima Primary School in NCD. He acknowledged government's TFF policy but says the funding must be released to schools on timely basis. Chairman Key says schools need allocated funding to ensure learning is of quality.
You are talking about free education. Why not release the funding earmarked for in every schools, for that matter, on timely basis? First quarter, we want the money probably in February, end of February, and then second, third, and fourth. And sometimes when it's delayed, we run on ad hoc basis, and there's no quality education that we are looking at. So, in the name of free education, every reflection, they learn nothing. Every student, at the village level, yeah, we are talking about NCD, but just imagine a telephone and a Maramuni, and in the government policy of free education, everyone is flooding into the classrooms. and there's nothing the teacher can do to give the best, learning that he or she can.
Chairman Key also mentioned that administration of a learning institution is challenging for most schools in the country. He says the government must not focus only in funding but maintaining the quality of education. Key is concerned that while schools are told not to turn away students, how will quality be maintained? Like many other schools in the country, many schools lack proper learning facilities. He urged parents to at least pay some fees to support projects initiated by school administrations and the Board of Management.
What we want is we want at least some money in the account for the operational purposes. School cannot just run on ad hoc basis. So what is there for the school to work on? To the number of students, number of teachers, because classrooms, pre-education is one thing, and then the other aspects is the facilities and projects, and you name it, all these things, programs that got to be incorporated, and every school need funding. That's why every school charge project fees.
Earlier last month, the national government released the first quarter of the subsidy to the education department. That money is yet to be distributed to government-funded schools.
123 million kina has already been made available for us to pay the first quarter of that 468 million kina, 486 million kina budget. So schools have been asked not to refuse any student from coming to school or attending any class.
Jack Lopave Jr., National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. More of the day's stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Rigo MP Lekwa Gure has addressed the people of Manugoro about road issues. He says road contracts have been made with the Department of Works to solve this issue. He continued to say that not all development needs can be addressed in a year, so they are prioritizing what's important.
During the launching of the WASH program at Manugoro yesterday, the member for Rigo Lekwa Gure took the opportunity to clear the air on road maintenance along the Magi Highway. He wants his people to understand that different road maintenance responsibility lies in different government departments. For instance, the Magi Highway is the responsibility of the Works Department.
It is the responsibility of the national government, and the Department of Works, they are responsible for Magi Highway and Hiritano Highway. The provincial government, they are responsible for provincial roads. And some examples of those roads are Gomore to Gobuya. That's also classified as a provincial road. Rigo Indian Ring Road, that Rigo DDA is fixing at the moment.
Roads are priority because they are important for the accessibility of basic services and infrastructure that connects people, business, and grows the economy.
With the roads, it gives accessibility to the people to access basic services like health, education, the supply of goods and services to their respective wards. So it's really important for us to pay attention to the maintenance and the upgrade of our feeder roads.
MP Gure wants his people to know that contracts have been made with the Works Department and road maintenance will be on the way.
Contracts have been signed already to fix Magi Highway, the potholes, and get it fixed. From Bautama to Gabagaba, to Matayuka, to Imila, to Kupiano. Contracts have been signed. It is not something that Rigo DDA is going to implement. It is something that the Department of Works is going to implement to try and get this road fixed a little bit.
Gertrude Gabi, National MTV News.
Works Minister Michael Nally says the national government is committed to fund major roadworks in the autonomous region of Bougainville. Speaking recently in Aropa, Minister Nally says about 7 million kina remains outstanding and will be paid soon. The Works Minister says he will be returning to the region to see the work in progress.
Speaking in Aropa recently following the JSB meeting, the Works Minister assured the commitment to complete major road projects in the autonomous region of Bougainville. He says this is to improve road networks in the region. Minister Nali says major contractors are working despite passing the deadline dates.
One is doing Buka Ring roads, and that's going very well. That's Rabro. They've already done 15 kilometers of road. The other one is Dekanai. They're doing the road from Keita to Kokopau, and then from Kokopau to Buin is Kovek.
The Buka Ring Road project was initiated in 2015. That project is nearing completion. According to the Works Minister, funding has been slow despite being a priority. Minister Nali says the Morobe Basil government will ensure all road projects are completed to standard.
Because of our funding situation, money comes in drips and drops. But I want to take this opportunity to thank the contractors right throughout Papua New Guinea. They have been very good to us, very faithful, very loyal. They have not taken us to court.
The minister also visited other major roads in central and south Bougainville. He says a visit back to the region in the near future will aim to complete, build and maintain road networks in Arob. Nali is confident all trunk roads in the region will be of standard when funding is released to contractors.
On the roads, if you go through, you will see that there's not too many equipments out there working. That's because they have to also put up equipment enough to do enough work within the funding that is available. But they are doing a good job.
Jack Lapawa Jr., National EMTV News.
A delegation from the Simbu provincial government led by Governor Michael Dua is in Kokopo, East New Britain province for the first Cocoa of Excellence show meeting. Simbu province will be hosting this year's Cocoa of Excellence show. The provincial delegation arrived in Kokopo yesterday and wasted no time heading straight to Bita Reba Reba in the Kokopo Vunamami LLG to visit the Bita Vava Cocoa Farmer Group. The visit is to familiarize the Simbu Provincial Government Working Committee about the cocoa management chain and initiate plans for the Cocoa of Excellence show. The show will be held in Kundiawa. Show dates will be announced soon. Simbu Province is slowly making its name in the cocoa industry as more farmers in Karamui venture into cocoa production. The Cocoa of Excellence show is a platform for cocoa farmers throughout the country to learn from each other and compete for the best tasting cocoa in PNG. After a week-long training, the Goilala village court officials ended their training today. Goilala is the last district to undergo the training and officially closed the program. Rigo, Kairuku, Hiri and Abau districts have completed their training in October and November 2020.
Acting Provincial Administrator.
The training is a memorandum of understanding that was signed between the Central Provincial Administration, Child Fund, and Department of Justice and Attorney General. The workshop was funded by the European Union.
You should be very proud of yourselves today sitting here. This is, I know for some of you it's a very important occasion for you to come through this training, to experience this training and to get understanding, knowledge of the things that you've learned throughout the 5 days. So big congratulations first and foremost to the whole lot of you.
Acknowledgement blow go long online blow child fund lona na team blow you me like also acknowledging time na commitment belong online no Department of Justice na Attorney General, and because long all na me play come inside na me play support us all.
This workshop is to train court officials on their roles and responsibilities and other duties with regards to the Child Protection Act and other acts under the village court system. They are also equipped with skills of mediation, bringing peace and justice to their communities. The participants were also encouraged to carry out awareness in their different LLGs in Goilala district.
All of us, this training is all about we, you, me, as community leaders. We are community leaders in our own rights. And with this training, I hope that it has built us I hope that it has really encouraged us. I hope that it has helped us to understand the issues that are experiencing in our communities.
A male and female representative of the participants expressed words of acknowledgement for the opportunity presented to them. They said Goilala is a tough place, not only with the landscape, but the fact that there are no police officials posted in the area. The village court officials had to deal with all the issues. To undergo such training is a bonus for them.
Mipla log entire Goilala, mipla nogat police. You walk inside the district, mipla. Mipla save stop all some tasol. But now mipla looking all this la man Mary sit down here. Me plus stop the ground. Even big pla killing come up. Big pla something where all police by deal lo bantem lonen. Me plus I try best lo me pla lo settle all this la kind of problem.
From the Department of Justice and Attorney General Perpetua Howe encouraged the participants about teamwork. She told them to practice what they have learned and requested that they provide land for a courthouse to be built in their area. The funds are available.
Kim you go talk one time online law place. Ask him all. Suppose only got ground will like give him. Okay, all get a mass one bill. Sign in paper. Now this la paper now. All get a name is tap. All one bill or some like give him ground lo yumi. Lo sanap him courthouse.
Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
Finance Minister Sir John Pundari says local SMEs are important for the country's growth and should be encouraged. He was speaking yesterday at 9 Mile in Port Moresby for the launch of Mandau Investments, a new shopping centre outside the city limits.
The launch of a new shopping facility at 9 Mile, a milestone for a local SME. The owner, a very satisfied man.
You must think wisdom. Now you've got good blood, ting long. Start a business for you. You can sell a boy, or you can sell a smoke, or you can do any small SME low income block company or even the professional long family blow yet.
The finance minister, encouraged by the humble owner, added Papua New Guineans can be successful in business.
Get up there and using this last time blow you here. Sit down backside low keyboard here. Go to API and form him company blow you. Go to IRC and register him kiss him tax number blow you. Go to bank now open him account blow you. Go to bank now borrow him money. And invest in something. Do the right thing instead of being a negative critic in a country that is so abundantly blessed.
The launch comes a month since the local businessmen questioned the government over the development of a 4-lane road that passes through the establishment. Sir John Pundari, supporting the call for the city authority to consider the business and homes along the corridor.
If there is going to be a 4-lane highway through here, we all need it. And we appreciate what NCDC is doing. But I want to appeal. Please give due consideration to the other side of a same government's policy on growing SMEs in our nation, and especially in this electorate of Moresby North East.
This was supported by member for Moresby North East, John Kaupa. Mr. Lawai plans to expand his business to other parts of 9 Mile. Bradley Valenaki, National EMTV News.
27 young people from Catholic parishes in Morobe would now be able to communicate issues concerning the rural population after undergoing a media conference in Lae. The workshop was organized by the Catholic Diocese of Lae and was facilitated by the Catholic Bishop Conference Social Communication Department. The participants would now be able to make use of the possibilities of media for development.
The 27 young men and women who participated in the social communication seminar were commissioned this morning during a mass led by Lae's Catholic Diocese Head Bishop, Father Rosario Menezes. The participants would travel back to the 9 districts of Morobe, where they would be working with their local communities and parishes in communicating information to the diocese in Lae concerning religious and material development. The seminar was facilitated by the Social Communication Department of the Catholic Bishop Conference of PNG and Solomon Islands.
Communication has to go from top to down, but more especially from the grassroots level to the top. And from here in the Diocese of Lae, it has to reach other parts and other provinces of Papua New Guinea. Engaging our young people, engaging persons at the level of the village, at the level of different parishes is important because they are the ones in contact with the simple issues, and it is the lives of simple people that matter. Do they get the basics of food, of clothing, of shelter? These are important things that are needed. Are they provided that? What are the facilities offered to them? Can there be something more that is done? And I think people at the grassroots level have to be heard.
One such medium the Catholic Church used to disseminate information from bottom up is the Radio Maria that is established throughout the world.
Radio Maria is a network that broadcasts and supports the broadcasting of the Word of God mainly all around the world in 86 countries around the world. And in Oceania, we have it only in Papua New Guinea.
The seminar was organized by the Catholic Diocese of Lae to connect parishes from the remote areas of the 8th Diocese of Morobe to the main communication center in Lae. According to Lae's Catholic head Bishop Rosario Menezes, media is a vital tool concerning the religious and material development in all communities.
The communication is, I found out that it is only in Lae. What we say in our Catholic FM or what we share on our Facebook pages, it only reaches to people who are in the city. And then for me it is important that we have to include every villages of Morobe province. So that's why I thought it is very important to bring people in so that we can also connect all the villages, all the parishes in remote places to our communication network in the diocese.
The Catholic Diocese is calling on the Catholic believers and general public to make use of media available at their level to inform, educate and inspire for positive change.
How can they make use of what is available at their level? The simple notice board, the simple means of communicating from one to the other or through radio, and then connect with the wider aspect of the diocese, the church in Papua New Guinea, and definitely also the secular media.
Julie Badui, Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina will buy $0.2775 $0.3546 Australian dollars, $0.3808 New Zealand dollars, and 28.37 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, cocoa and copper closed higher. Palm oil closed lower, copper and crude oil is trading higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. When we return, we will look at stories making headlines overseas. Don't go away. Welcome back. Turning overseas, New Zealand gets a vaccine and Australia gets a new lockdown starting late last night, with Melbourne bracing itself for a potential third wave. The highly contagious UK strain is spreading rapidly in communities.
It's deja vu for battle-weary Victorians. The fear of a third wave worn on the face of the state leader.
Everyone right to go?
As he plunged Victoria back into a strict lockdown to stop the spread.
It is moving at a velocity that has not been seen
anywhere in our country.
As of midnight, all 6.5 million living in Victoria will be ordered to stay home for 5 days.
This is a short, sharp circuit breaker.
Breaking the chain of transmission that was ignited here, Melbourne's Holiday Inn. Mist from a medicine vaporising machine likely spread the virus from one room of returnees across the hall and into another. The newest infection, a barista at a busy airport cafe.
It is so hyper-infectious and moves so fast that it is presenting a very, very real challenge to our status, our stay safe, stay open.
On Melbourne soil today, Australia's Prime Minister boasting about the new way to beat an outbreak.
They're Australian made and they're being produced here.
Vaccines and millions of them. AstraZeneca, the jab most Australians will receive, just clocked a new milestone.
I call it the bottling process. The scientists have another name for it. We all use different phrases, Eskies, chili bins, or whatever the other more technical terms are.
Technically, it means millions could be vaccinated by March. The rollout starting with Pfizer in a matter of weeks. To New Zealand, it doesn't technically save the day.
We just can't say for sure that if you're vaccinated, you're not at risk of passing on COVID-19 to others.
Therefore, hopes of two-way travel across the Tasman.
So at this stage, it won't necessarily make a difference there.
No, and Melbourne's snap lockdown won't necessarily help either.
The Duchess of Sussex has won a major victory in her privacy claim in one of Britain's biggest tabloid newspapers. A High Court judge has ruled in Meghan's favour, saying there won't be a trial because the evidence against the Mail is overwhelming.
The Duchess of Sussex, now the Duchess of Success, winning her war on the tabloids, one of them at least. This was her happy day in 2018, marrying Prince Harry. It was Harry's dad, though, who walked her down the aisle. Her real dad, Thomas Markle, pulled out just days earlier, claiming heart problems and staging paparazzi pics. Heartbroken, Meghan Markle penned a private letter to her dad, which soon made its way to the Mail on Sunday and Mail Online, which published it, and she launched legal action.
My British friend said to me, "I'm sure he's great, but you shouldn't do it because the British tabloids will destroy your life."
Today, the judge backing her, ruling it was a breach of her privacy. The Duchess responding, saying the tabloids' actions were illegal and dehumanising. For these outlets, it's a game, she says. For me and so many others, it's real life, real relationships and very real sadness. The damage they've done and continue to do runs deep. Her father, though, hasn't yet met her husband, Prince Harry, nor their child, Archie, but he's happily spoken about it to broadcasters.
I'm a footnote in one of the greatest moments in history, rather than the dad walking her down the aisle.
And even prepared to testify against his daughter in court. Today's ruling, though, means a trial isn't necessary. And while it's a win for Meghan, it remains a personal loss too, with her father still estranged from her, her new semi-royal life, and their child.
Trukai Sports is next. All the details after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To football, the 2021 Hekari Academy